Hey everyone, welcome to day 27 of the 30-day Body, Mind, and Spirit Challenge. Today I'm out doing a hike late morning, December 19th. It's about 5 to 10 degrees, absolutely freezing, absolutely freezing. But I want to teach you today is a meditation technique that allows you to utilize the power of nature around you. So basically, all you want to do is when you're out hiking is find a place that kind of resonates with you, you feel good, and you kind of look over here. I'm on the edge of a very icy cliff. I'm not going to go too much closer, but this place has great energy. It's an amazing view, and it just resonates with one of my daily hikes that I like to take. So with that said, the technique I'm going to teach you is a way to bring the left-hand side and the right-hand side of your brain into sync, okay? And basically what you want to do is when you're sitting down in your place in nature and you're quiet and you feel good, you want to close your eyes, you want to breathe through your nose deeply quite a few times. And in your mind's eye, you want to bring up a square box, okay, on a black silhouette. And in that square box, you want to draw a plus sign, okay? So you have a square box. So basically, you have 4 squares that are connected. A square with a plus sign. And in the top left-hand corner, you want to paint that with the color red. In the top right, you want to paint that with the color blue. On the bottom left, you want to paint it with the color yellow. And on the bottom right, you want to paint it with the color green. So you go from red to blue, to yellow to green, back to red. Red to blue, to yellow to green, back to red. And what you do is in your mind, you just close your eyes and you practice. You focus on the red, then you move to the blue, then you go down to the bottom left to the yellow, over to the bottom right to the green, back up to the top left to the red again. Red, blue, yellow, green, back to red. Red, blue, yellow, green, back to red. Red, blue, yellow, green, back to red. And what you do is over time, as you get faster and better at this, you only have to do it for a minute or so, you're going to find it is an extremely powerful technique for bringing the left-hand side and the right-hand side of your brain into sync. And when they are in sync, you have clarity in the moment. And when you come out of this quick meditative state, you only do it for a minute. Look, I'm not one for meditating. It doesn't work for me. It never has. And these are just little tips and tricks that I have picked up over the years of exploration on the edge of the consciousness grid, okay? Try this. Don't try it. I'm sorry. Just do this, okay? When you're out in nature, and what you'll notice is when you open your eyes, you are in a very blissed out, beautiful place. Day 27 of the 30-day Body, Mind, and Spirit Challenge, folks. You're doing awesome, amazing, bettering your lives, bringing the body, the mind, and the spirit into alignment. And when they are in alignment, your life is beautiful and magical things happen. Thanks, folks. Have a great day.
And good morning, Reno Suriano here, the Conscious Health Alchemist, day 27 on your 30-day Holistic Health Challenge. Okay, we're continuing. We're coming down the stretch, my friend, and I'm going to bring up another important topic, and it's called influence. My question to you is, who and what is influencing you? Because I see way too many people being influenced by their partners, friends, family members, by acquaintances. And so what am I speaking about? It's like, okay, so it's when you're with other people. What is going on in the conversations? What's going on when you go out to dinner with people? Are you doing things because you just want to fit in, or are you following your truth? I'm going to press you today because way too many people on this planet are not walking and speaking their truth. And that is one of the most important blessings you can give someone, is your truth. And I don't see many people doing it. It's the easiest thing to do, and yet people are not doing it. Why? Because you're scared. You're scared to speak your truth because you're fear of ruffling feathers, and you fear that these people aren't going to like you anymore, or these people are going to love you less. Well, I'm going to tell you something. Too bad. Step into your power. Start speaking and walking your truth no matter what. And in the aspect of health, how many times have you given in? Just because you were in an environment and there was friends and family and even your partner, they were doing certain things with nutrition, and, well, you followed suit. That is a dishonor to yourself and this planet. Do not bite your truth. Do not hold on to your truth. Do not follow. Do not allow yourself to be influenced. But there's too many people on this planet, and you know what? the time is now, my friend. You got to step into your power. Stop being influenced by your family, friends, and even your partner. If you're in a relationship, you need to walk your truth, and you need to speak that to your partner. And I see way too many people biting their truth, and then you get your butt whooped, and then you wonder why your life isn't flowing and why your life isn't fun. Stop being influenced is my main point. There's way too many influences out in society. So in the aspect of health, how are you being influenced? I don't know. Who's influencing you? What is influencing you? Is it a certain TV channel that you're watching that's telling you about health and nutrition when they're really not speaking higher levels of truth? Okay, or is it a friend or family member you go out with the dinner with, and in that engagement you wind up drinking beer or alcohol or chocolate ice cream or something? How and who is influencing you? Those are the things that you got to sit with yourself, and you need to put your foot down, because I know for sure you're doing things that you really don't want to do. And if you sit with yourself and ground yourself and ask yourself these questions of, do I really want to be doing this right now? 90% of the time you're going to say no. But you're doing it because you want to fit in, you want to be loved, and you don't want to ruffle feathers, and especially at holidays. Okay, today's a holiday day. How many millions of people are going with their family and friends and they're not walking or living their truth? They're doing things, they're going to be eating things that really they don't really want to, but they're doing it because they want to fit in with family members and friends and all this, and goodbye, where are you going? Not very far. So influence, it's very powerful but very subtle. You need to be careful, because one person can be influencing your life in a negative way and you won't even know it. It's not even noticeable by you. But if you take a step back and you ground yourself, you'll see that you're being influenced. It can be your partner, and a lot of times partners can be actually stifling to your evolution because they're following a certain lifestyle or certain habits, and you kind of don't want to ruffle their feathers, so you're doing these habits as well. Nope, no more. Stop. That's what I'm telling you. I'm here to press you today. Stop it. Cut it out. Stop biting your truth. Stop letting other people influencing you. All right? And I know sometimes it can be a challenge. I know it's not that simple, but if you want to bless this planet, you want to live a victorious life, you need to start walking your truth. You need to be in your power. It doesn't matter who's in front of you, whether it's your family members, friends, or your partner. Too bad. You speak your truth no matter what. And that's how you're going to change your life, and that's how we're going to change this planet. Otherwise, have fun living your limiting life. Your choice. I'm here to inspire you to say, walk your truth, live your truth, breathe your truth, eat your truth, sleep your truth. Otherwise, you're not going to live that delicious, victorious life. I'm Reno Soriano. I just hit you on day 27. Come back tomorrow. And remember, healthy body, happy soul.
Hey guys, today's challenge is about seeing what you value about yourself. Yes, please get out a piece of paper. I want us to make a list of just 12 things, more if you like, of things that you value. It's your intrinsic value, what's inherent to your nature, what it is that you value about yourself. I want you to really think and make this list and see it in writing. I'm not talking about extrinsic or external goals that you've met, awards that you've gotten, mountains that you've climbed. That's all external. I'm talking about what is in your innate nature. What do you value about yourself? You know, so often through just programming and through sometimes religious programming or just societal programming, we've all heard the saying, don't toot your own horn, or don't brag about yourself. You'll look, arrogant. Well, maybe we do need to brag about ourselves a little bit, because I think for the most part, the population has a self-esteem problem, and there's not enough value that we have for the self. We value our children and our family, and we take care of everyone else. So it's time to look at ourselves. What do we value about ourselves? When we go down that negative spiral, which is just what we do as humans from time to time, let's think about that. How unique, how special you are. No one but you can be you. There's no one else that can do it. You're a unique signature of source, of the universe, of God, however you want to phrase it. So we need to recognize the value in that. If humanity starts doing that, acknowledging the self, loving the self, forgiving the self, we have a whole new world. I mean, think about it. A whole new world if we transform the internal like this. We've heard it many times. Start with the man in the mirror. Sounds cliche, sounds corny. The bottom line is, once we do, our whole field changes. It radiates out. and it affects others. And then they can transform more easily just from being in your field. How wonderful is that? I mean, it's almost magical, but that's the way it works. So let's get out that piece of paper. I want you to put what I value about myself is. Now, some of mine, I'll give you an example. I value about myself is that I'm very caring. I value that I'm very conscientious. I always look to see, even as a child, if someone was sitting in an uncomfortable chair, I will go get a pillow in the middle of the conversation and just give them a pillow. That's just who I am. I value that I'm insatiably curious. I just like to know the facts, know what's going on. I love to study and research. So you see where I'm going with this. See what you value about yourself. It'll raise your vibration internally. It'll be so good for your heart. Keep it somewhere handy for yourself. Value and begin to love yourself. And first and foremost, forgive, forgive, forgive. We can't do anything about the past. We can make the future better, though. It starts with self-love. All right? Thank you guys once again for joining, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Hi guys, and we're back again. Day 27, Body, Mind, Spirit Challenge. My name is Jim Standish, one of your co-hosts, and we are continuing down our deep dive of meditation. And today we're going to talk about brain entrainment and binaural beats. And I don't know if you are familiar with those terms. Today there's a whole bunch of stuff to pull out on the handouts. Now, binaural beats and brain entrainment is an audio guide to meditation. And again, it's about balancing both hemispheres of the brain so that you can get into a very deep meditative state and enjoy a very profound, relaxed experience. So with binaural beats, the technique is to actually have a repeating pattern. Remember, we talked about rhythmic breathing, and I had you kind of choose a in out. Okay, all right. Remember that? It's a few days ago. That was like a primer for this. Okay, so binaural beats are a beat or a resonance or a rhythm that goes on in one ear. A different rhythm goes on in the other ear. And then when the two ears hear the two different sides, zoop, it pulls the brain to the center. So these are all little tools, tips, and techniques to help balance both hemispheres of your brain. So in that PDF handout, there are two different ones that I share with you. One is called the Chakra Tuning in E. That is one that I used an awful lot when I was learning how to do my meditation practice. That is one that I just put on. I put on some headphones, put it on kind of nice and softly in the background, and there's all kinds of stuff going on there in the background. Again, it would take a lot of explanation to explain this. I'm going to give you the links so that you can read about it yourself, understand it yourself. The other file that I have in there for you is the sound of the sun, and that is something that we talked about earlier, that NASA has recorded the sounds of the planets, and the sound of the sun sounds very eerily like the sound of creation, or Om, and it is completely natural, and you can, same thing, put on some headphones, let this play in the background. It will do some really interesting things for you, and as far as guiding you down to no man's land, down there in the deep space of nothing. Like, why do I want to go nowhere? We're getting to that. And also, with the sound of the sun, I use it to program water. Now, you know that I'm a big fan of Peter Schenk software. I've been using it for well over 10 years. And back on day 14, if you want to go back to day 14, I gave you a couple of links with an experiment that I did proving without a doubt, proving the efficacy of programming water. And the sound of the sun is the one water that was like off the charts. I programmed with the sound of the sun through a whole bunch of stuff at that one water. If you want to go back and read the blog post and remember it, and it's now you have the file, and I want you to play with this yourself. Put a glass of water in front of some speakers, and hopefully you have like a subwoofer on your system, right? Water absolutely freaks out to the sound of the sun. It is amazing. It is something that you have to see it to believe it. And I know if you're here, you're probably a fan of Peter's, and you've heard some of his stories about testimony of what people have seen happen to their glasses of water as we do these different activations. This is something that you kind of have to see for yourself too. So now you have the file. Download the file, put it on your computer, play with it a little bit. And also I want you to play with the chakra tuning in E with your meditation practice. And also, I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff in today's handout, and it's going to keep you busy for quite some time. We're kind of pulling this all together just in this little meditation section, and I just wanted to do a few days on meditation alone and give you just a whole bunch of tools, tips, and techniques to help you with your meditation practice. Science validates absolutely that there are all kinds of things that meditation does for you and your health and your body, as far as lowering blood pressure, reducing stress, increasing the production of T cells. There are just the numerous benefits. There are Harvard studies done, all kinds of studies done. I believe I gave you those links too about the Harvard study that was done on meditation. There have been experiments actually reducing violence using meditation. That they took a study group of X amount of people and used the combined meditation where you have a whole bunch of people meditating on one thought. They could actually direct energy to a city and scientifically prove that because 100 or so people were meditating in a specific city, concentrating their energy, that it actually reduced the level of violence and crime in that city for that time while they were meditating. That is pretty crazy, off the charts. In my PDF today, I have a PDF called Proof, Scientific Proof. And there's a whole bunch of links in there that will keep you busy for quite some time. Now here's the kicker. We are going to move on. Day 28, we're going to start talking about the I Ching systems, the I Ching systems instruments. So I want to kind of wrap up this little meditation thing. I've given you a whole bunch of tools and a whole bunch of techniques to practice meditation for yourself. Here is the kicker. This is a 30-day challenge. Science can validate in order to cement a new habit in your brain. They talk about doing it for 21 days. There's a lot of people that do 21-day challenge. Years ago, I was involved in doing some marketing, and we used to do this 21-day blitz of work, where you would work for 21 days straight and then take the other 5 days off. Take a week off, go back to work, hammer for 21 days, take 5 days off. In a meditation practice, there is an ancient knowledge or knowing about 40 days. And we know about this famous guy that went into the desert for 40 days. I really want you to start to practice using this guy 108 times. Now, yesterday, I think it was yesterday, or day 25, when we were talking about mantras, on day 25, I gave you a link to a gentleman that does a whole bunch of mantras and recites them for you and teaches you how to recite them. And I don't want to choose a mantra for you. I want you to choose your own mantra. The Lakshmi mantra is something that worked for me. Om Gam Shrim Maha Lakshmi Namaha. And what I did is actually say that for 40 days. And this is the test. So there's a whole nother challenge here. Past the 30-day challenge is to choose a mantra, use that mantra 108 times for 40 days in a row. Now you can plug in any one of these other elements as you see fit. If it helps you to stare at the Sri Yantra, absolutely. If it helps you to close your eyes, absolutely. The important thing is to control the monkey mind, control the things that take you off track, that take you off track, that take you off track. And you're going to concentrate on something, and that is the purpose of a mantra, is to give your brain something to think about. Like concentrating on your breathing is to give your brain something to think about. To use the mala is to give, it's a tactile thing. It gives your body and your brain something to, number one, to count to 108 times, but it keeps you occupied. And when you practice this and practice this and practice this for 40 days, if you miss one day, I want you to start over again. And what happens when you make it finally through the 40-day period, and you'll see on your way there that things start to mesh, that we talked way early, we talked about these synchronicities and how synchronicities happen. If you want to practice something kind of cool, think of anything. I use elephants. Okay, so there's a buddy of mine that is really into elephants, is working on this whole thing to stop poaching, and is very active in saving the elephant. If you meditate and just think elephants, just do this as a crazy off the wall fun experiment. When you're meditating, just think elephants, 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 elephants. Think elephants. The more you meditate as the days go by, it is going to freak you out how many times you see an elephant. They are just going to start popping out of the woodwork. Now, I'm not talking about big elephants from the circus walking down the street. I'm talking about images of images of elephants. They are going to start coming out of the woodwork for you. It is the craziest thing ever. If you want to buy a new vehicle, choose the vehicle that you want. Meditate on that vehicle. Start thinking about that vehicle. You are going to be surprised at how many of those vehicles you start to see. You're going to get ads. Somebody's going to send you something in the mail about the very vehicle that you're thinking about. You're going to start seeing them all the time driving down the road. You're going to be able to spot them from 2 miles away. And this is an incredible manifestation tool, and that's what I'm getting at, is that when you pull all these things together, you pull the Sri Yantra together, you pull the mantra together, pull all these pieces together, and concentrate on one specific thing while you're meditating, you're sending that image out there, and the universe will respond. Unbelievable stuff. So practice this, practice this, practice this. You have my email. You have a way to get in touch with me through the website or the email. I'd love to hear from you and just share with me how this works for you. Crazy stuff. So this video went a little bit long. The brain entrainment thing, just pull up the PDFs down below. You'll be able to load them to the computer and just experiment with it, play with it. Really cool stuff. So tomorrow, day 28, we're going to start to get into the I Ching Systems instruments and what they can do for you to really enhance this whole experience for you. So thanks for joining me. We'll see you on day 28. Bye-bye.
Hello, I'm Dr. Howard. Today we're going to talk about dowsing. We're going to talk about how to dowse, different ways of dowsing, and what you can do with the information. We're going to talk about people that don't need to dowse because they know. There's something called knowing. It's a way of just knowing instead of having to ask questions with various techniques, which we happen to call dowsing. The Raymond Grace is probably one of the premier people in this country on as a dowser, and he has a book, Techniques That Work for Me. In that book, he references an article online that you can download called Letter to Robin. And in the Letter to Robin, it's a free download. You can get a dowsing chart. You can make your own dowsing chart. It's just a very nice dowsing chart. I studied under Raymond Grace. Cheryl, my partner, she studied with me under Raymond Grace, but she learned about dowsing 20 years ago from the top dowsers in the country. At least the people who are currently the top dowsers in the country were her teachers back then. I didn't learn dowsing originally. I knew about it, wasn't sure what you can do with it because I had knowing. In other words, the same information that people were dowsing with back 20, 30, 40 years ago, I sort of knew. And so I figured, well, if I know and I can also influence the outcome that people were getting from their dowsing, I figured, well, I'm not sure what good that is. Because if I can influence it with my mind, I can influence the information I receive from dowsing. And so I learned over the years that I just knew things. And when I was in chiropractic school, some of the students were testing, doing strength testing. And from across the room, I figured out that I could decide what the answers they would get when they were trying to get a yes or no answer to a question. We're going to talk about this different strength testing techniques. And it's taken me years and years and years. It wasn't until I met Cheryl and learned some things about her and then met Raymond Grace and studied under him that I realized that, yes, the answers to dowsing questions can be determined by your own thoughts, but you can get out of the way of your thoughts and allow the answers to be there. I'm very accurate when I dowse. Every once in a while, I still have a question, well, do I have a bias? And if I think I do, I ask Cheryl to do the dowsing. And if a client that I'm working with a problem can dowse, I ask them to dowse for the answers. And believe me, when they get an answer from dowsing, they believe it even more than they would believe me when I get an answer from dowsing or from knowing. So it's a good idea to do that. Let's talk a little bit about dowsing. Dowsing is a way of getting information from your subconscious to your conscious mind. That's all it is. Your subconscious knows a heck of a lot. A lot of it pulls from other dimensions. I know it pulls from other dimensions because when I see auras, I can see them on television. And as a physicist, I know what's on a TV signal. There's no aura, so I'm pulling information from someplace. And with auras, as I've talked about before, the information gets superimposed on my visual cortex, and it's a way for my subconscious mind to tell my conscious mind, provide it with information. Well, that's all dowsing is. You think about people with dowsing rods, and you can use dowsing rods, and you can use pendulums. That's a pendulum. And I can get no answers from a pendulum. I can get yes answers from a pendulum. I can do some other things with the pendulum. I can use it as a timer. I start it turning in one direction, and and I just let it go until it decides to stop. And when it decides to stop, I've got an answer. The answer is, okay, time's up. What the pendulum is in this case, and I can go in the other direction, decide what it means when it goes in that direction. And what it does is I've trained my subconscious mind my conscious mind, I've trained it to don't interrupt the subconscious. It's doing something important. And it tells me by the direction that I have it spinning, it tells me what's important, what it's doing. I can train it, or train myself actually, to make it mean different things depending on how it's spinning. I can decide that if I want to disrupt energy, I can have it go in a counterclockwise direction. And when it's finished and stops, it's disrupted enough energy for me. It's an intention field. It says, okay, I'm disrupting energy. Tell me when we're done. I can have it go clockwise and put energy back together in a different form. And it'll tell me when it's done, or when I'm done. Pendulum's not doing a thing. It's an inanimate object. But my subconscious mind is using it, and in this regard, it's using it and say, go bother yourself, go get yourself doing something else besides bothering me, conscious mind. I'm busy. And that's all we use it for in energy, for moving energy around. I've decided, and Raymond Gray seems to do it this way, so since I studied under him, I do it the way he does. But he told us, you can make it go the other way and decide it means the same thing but going in the other direction. It's just up to you. There's no fixed rule. It's what you decide, and then stick to it so that your conscious mind knows what the subconscious is trying to tell it, or information is trying to pass through to it. And so I've decided if I want to use energy, if I want to take energy apart back to its primal form of holy light, I decide what I want to do. I start spinning the pendulum around in a counterclockwise direction. And when I say start, yes, I gave it a little shove in that direction. Now I don't bother whether I'm giving it a shove, not giving it a shove. It will stop at the proper time when I've taken the energy apart, or when the energy's been taken apart for me, that I've decided needs to be taken apart. If I need to open a gate to another dimension, I can spin this in a counterclockwise direction with the intent that the gate will open. If I want to I can also choose, if I'm opening a gate, to go in this direction, to go clockwise. Normally, when opening gates, it's because we have some people that have died and have not, maybe a spook basically, and has not made the transition. They're afraid. They get all sorts of stories in this life about fire and brimstone and hell and damnation and everything else, and some of them are scared to death. They've had bad thoughts. They've done bad things. They figure they're going to, if they go to the other side, they're going to end up in a very hot place. Well, that's not quite how it works. I'll open a gate. I'll call some angels, ask them to come through with the medics and take the spooks across to the other side, give them first aid, and send them on their way with a blessing. What happens to them on that side is not going to be bad. In Judaism, we don't have a belief in a horrible, horrible hell and a punishing God that makes demands. God doesn't create us the way we are and then punish us for the way we are because we're not different. In Judaism, we believe that we want to be close to God, and that it is hell to not be strong enough to be as close as we'd like. And so that's what happens. I've been there in this life. It wasn't when I died. I had at one point, I was kissing my wife, And I wasn't here. I was in heaven. And it was unbelievable and unbelievably beautiful. And I didn't want to leave. And I wanted to get closer and closer and closer to that light that was unbelievable. And the strength kept getting stronger and stronger. And I realized any stronger, and I was not coming back. I was instantly pushed back to a point where I was perfectly safe and I knew I would not be destroyed by the light. But I couldn't get any closer to God, and it was horrible. Then I knew what hell was, but it's not a hot place that you're going to be burning in eternal damnation. It's just you're temporarily held a little away from God for whatever purpose God has, so that you're not fully assimilated and lose your identity. That's my understanding. I've talked to rabbis about this. That's the understanding that they have also. That's been passed down in Jewish literature, mystical lore, that this is what is going on. And I've seen some of the Jewish mystical lore in translation, and there are rabbis that have described exactly what I just described to you. Now, let's get back to what we're doing with energy. If we have some energy that's not nice, we can take it apart and change it back to its primal form. We can then have it woven back into a different pattern, into love, into health, into healing, into whatever we ask. And so we ask the divine to take it apart, and now we have a big pile of energy sitting around, and now we ask the divine to go and reweave it into something else. And if need be, to take away its memory so that it doesn't even remember what it was. So it really will be something else, because it'll have a new memory of whatever that form of energy would have. So that's what you can do with energy. That's what you can do with spinning a pendulum. I like to call it a dreidel. We spin the dreidel. Dreidel is a Jewish name for a top. Anyway, that's one way of playing with energy. That's with dowsing. And as I said, Raymond talks about it. The book, The Letter to Robin, from a friend of his that was published and given to the world, tells you more about dowsing. And that's in the formal form of dowsing. You can go to Raymond Grace, RaymonGrace.us to get more information on this. Now, there's some other ways we can dowse. And there are other devices that dowsers use. You know, you can go and have 2 sticks and douse for water. These are just ways of getting information to you from your subconscious mind to the conscious mind. You can also do muscle testing, and this is how a lot of people get yes and no answers about all sorts of things. If you put your arm up and somebody pushes here, that's a formal way of muscle testing, and that isn't necessarily to get yes or no answers. You can get yes and no answers that way, but it's also a form of doing clinical testing for neurological problems, because we know which nerves go from the brain to the different muscles, and if you put the arm in a position so that just the deltoid muscle is holding the arm up and push, you can test the deltoid muscles, the strength of that muscle. And the strength of that muscle is governed by the 5th cervical nerve, so you can check the integrity of the signals coming down through the 5th cervical nerve path. That's not what we're doing here. That's for clinical work. What we're doing with muscle checking rather than muscle testing is what we're going to be talking about. And that's what most people do. You can have an arm pulled this way, and if it's strong, you can decide whether strong means yes or strong means no. Or weak, you can test whether if strong means yes, then weak means no. So if I say, is my name Howard, and I push, it should be strong, or somebody else pushes. If they say, is your name Myrtle, it should be weak. It's an intention field that makes it weak or strong. My intention field is I will get a yes or a no answer that's accurate through my subconscious mind from wherever it's getting the information, presumably from the divine. You can have the arm up. You can have the arm down over here. You can put the arm this way. You can push the arm this way. It doesn't matter. Just try not to hurt somebody by pushing too hard in a direction that they're not used to pushing. You can take your fingers like this. Link them in here. My name Howard. They're locked. My name Myrtle. Pull apart easily. You can do that for yourself. You can do that to find out on somebody else. You can do that on yourself to get an answer on somebody else. It's called being a proxy. I can push on somebody else's arm to get an answer for this person over here. I'm using this person to proxy that person. If you're going to do proxying, ask yourself, ask the universe, am I allowed to do a proxy right now? You get a yes or no. You can use your fingers like this. Put them like this, push. Then move down, that's a yes. Move down, that's a no. You can do them like this. I find it easier to do like this. Push, it's a yes. That's a no. Get all sorts of yes and no answers. You can talk to the feet. You can have a person lying face down. You go look at their feet, you line them up, you ask a question, and one leg will get short. Put them back, ask the opposite question, the other leg gets short. It works. Don't ask why. It just works. It works because of intention fields. This is the only thing I can think of. When you do this, you work with the intent that you are out of the picture, you're trying to get some information, and that's what you're going to get, and you will. Practice. Doesn't happen instantly for some people. For others, it does. With practice, it will happen every time. Just keep practicing. And as I said, the alternative is knowing. If you will allow yourself to know and to do it enough that you and have the answers come out enough times that they're verifiable, that you know 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 that you're getting good results, accurate results, it works. Just use it. If you need to use this for your work, if you need to use this for something you have to do in life, believe me, you'll learn how to use it. If you're having trouble, find a friend that knows how to do this, ask them to help. If not, just do what Raymond Grace did. He practiced and practiced and practiced till one day he could do it. And he's been doing it ever since and teaching other people to work miracles. Take care. Have a good evening. God bless. Talk to you tomorrow.
Hey everyone, Donna Whittington here from Peace, Love, Joy, and Bliss Coaching. Today I want to talk to you about some sexy no-nos. Some sexy no-nos. So, first one that we want to talk about is stubble. Stubble on your face. Stubble is like sandpaper. So, if you're a guy and you have a beard, think about the stubble on your face. Although it might be hot and attractive and extremely sexy, think about the stubble. And if you are rubbing up against your partner, especially if you are having oral sex, you definitely want to check the stubble. It's a sexy no-no. Here's one that I'm extremely adamant about, and that is keep the sugar in the kitchen. Sugar does not belong in the bedroom. I know there are some cutesy little lubes and things that you can use, and anything containing sugar, not a good place for us females. So if you are using any sugary product, a lubricant, a massage oil, whatever, keep that above the waist, because any sugary thing for women in the vaginal area, it's going to more than likely cause infections. That is a sexy no-no. Above the waist. Oh, here's one. Bad breath. So a passionate kiss can quickly fall from bliss with bad breath. So make sure you are taking care of some quick little hygiene there. Brush your teeth. Use a breath mint. Mouthwash. And that just, of course, makes for some great, passionate kisses. Remember we talked about in some of the other videos, 12 seconds. It's hard to kiss 12 seconds when you have bad breath. That also includes alcohol, coffee, cigarettes, those types of things can be a turnoff for kissing. Oh, here's another one. And this is for men and women. All these, I guess, are for men and women. But give yourself a manicure. So, my nails are... For your nails, you don't want to have jagged edges or broken nails. Anything that can scratch your partner or even yourself, that is just such a huge turnoff. If you go to caress someone and you have, a broken fingernail or a hangnail or something, and you just scratch them up, that is just never going to be fun. So make sure you maybe get a quick pedicure or manicure and pedicure. For those of you who like to use your feet and, maybe caress the body with the feet, make sure your nails, fingernails, toenails are smooth. Go ahead and file them down so that you don't have any rough edges. And then the last one, of course, another sexy no-no and a very important one, is if you are using any toys in the bedroom, please make sure that they are clean in between use. And make sure you're using a disinfectant. Okay? Soap and water to get it all cleaned up, and maybe even a spray disinfectant. You can find that at any adult store. All right, folks. Donna Whittington with Peace, Love, Joy, and Bliss Coaching. You can connect with me on my website. I have slots for bookings. If you want a private session, go to my website, Peace, Love, Joy, and BlissCoaching.com. You can also connect with me on Facebook. There is a Love Connections page. Like the page. You can send me an email there. You can send me an email at Peace, Love, and Bliss Coaching@gmail.com. Peace, Love, and Bliss Coaching@gmail.com. Hope you're having a fabulous day. Remember to stay sexy.
How's it going with your phenomenal body? Did you know that your body has a necessity for human touch? Your body actually requires human touch in order to thrive. What form of touch would your body like to receive? Would you honor it? Honor your knowing. What is possible for you to be and receive when you open up to commune as oneness with every other body and with the earth?